Jungkook admits he's sad. Taehyung expelled because of this? Jungkook ready to defend Taehyung. The news broke without warning. In a moment that shocked fans worldwide, Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, admitted to feeling an overwhelming sadness, a grief tied not to music, performance, or pressure, but to something far more personal and devastating. Whispers had long swirled in the background, but few were prepared for the intensity of what would follow. As Jungkook's somber confession began to spread, a deeper, darker question took hold. Was Taehyung, the of BTS, expelled? And if so, why? What really happened behind the scenes, and what pushed Jungkook to speak now, at a time when silence might have been safer? Fans are now left to ask, what forced this sudden wave of emotion? What internal breakdown could drive a global superstar like Jungkook to the edge of public vulnerability, revealing raw truths that were never meant to surface? As shocking as Jungkook's sadness may seem on the surface, the story it uncovers is far more painful than anyone expected. It's not just about a departure. It's about trust, loyalty, and a silent fracture within the very core of BTS. Rumors of Taehyung's exit had emerged before, but they were always swiftly buried, never confirmed. The group remained quiet, the label even quieter. However, this time, the silence seems to have broken from within, shattered by Jungkook himself. Observers noticed a shift in tone during his recent interview, when he dropped a sentence that has since echoed across the fandom. Sometimes, even when you try to protect someone, you're too late. A cryptic message that has since taken on a haunting meaning. Sources close to the group describe recent months as unusually tense. Jungkook, normally upbeat, had grown distant. Taehyung, once the center of warmth and connection, had been noticeably absent. Public appearances became sporadic, and when he did appear, Taehyung seemed withdrawn, his expressions unreadable, his interactions guarded. The dynamic between the members felt altered, almost hollow. Then came the confirmation, hidden not in a press release, but in Jungkook's emotional words and the absence that followed. Taehyung was no longer with them, but expelled? The word itself feels too brutal, too definitive, yet it continues to resurface. Insiders, speaking on condition of anonymity, have revealed an alleged clash between Taehyung and upper management, rooted in creative differences and long-standing disagreements over control. According to those same sources, Taehyung had grown increasingly frustrated with the limitations placed on his artistic voice, feeling suffocated by decisions made without his input. He reportedly fought back, privately at first, then more openly. And that resistance, some suggest, may have sealed his fate. This isn't the narrative the world expected. For years, BTS has been presented as a model of unity and brotherhood, their image carefully maintained. Yet behind that polished front, fractures may have existed for longer than anyone knew. The possibility that one of their own was forced out, not by choice but by pressure, completely dismantles the illusion of harmony that fans held dear. And Jungkook's reaction, raw and visibly shaken, has only added urgency to the speculation. What compelled him to finally speak? Those close to the situation claim it was guilt. Jungkook had allegedly attempted to intervene on Taehyung's behalf, advocating for compromise, urging understanding. But his efforts were too late. Taehyung was already gone. Not just gone from the stage, but removed from internal communication, distanced from the group's current projects. It wasn't supposed to end like this. One anonymous staff member shared. He loved the group. He didn't want to leave, but he was given no choice. This account, while unconfirmed by official channels, has gained traction for one simple reason. Jungkook's behavior aligns with it. The regret in his eyes, the tone of his voice, and the words he chose all point to a deep emotional weight, something heavier than creative burnout or industry fatigue. He is mourning a loss, not of a friend, but of a brother forcibly torn away from a bond they believed was unbreakable, and now he appears ready to defend him. I end what could be interpreted as a turning point. Jungkook is reportedly considering a more public stance. While he hasn't named names or pointed fingers explicitly, his recent interactions suggest a growing frustration with how the situation was handled. Sometimes silence protects the wrong people, he was quoted saying, a sentence that left many questioning. Was this message for the public or for those within his own team, Taehyung, for his part, has remained largely silent, his only comment being a vague social media post stating, "One day, the truth will matter more than the image." It was quickly deleted, but not before fans had archived it. The post, now widely circulated, has become a rallying cry among those who believe he was mistreated, a symbol of something bigger than just one artist's departure. The implications are massive. If what fans suspect is true, that Taehyung was pushed out for refusing to conform, and that Jungkook is now risking his own standing by defending him, then this may be the most serious internal fracture BTS has ever faced. It goes beyond fame, beyond music, beyond even the members themselves. It becomes a battle over truth, integrity, and identity in an industry that often prioritizes appearance over authenticity. How far will Jungkook go? Will he name those responsible? Will he confront the system that allegedly failed his closest friend? And what will that mean for his own position within the group? These are the questions now burning across social media as fans analyze every word, every movement, every silence. This isn't just a story of one member leaving. It's a test of loyalty and courage, one that may reshape the group's future entirely. Fans are divided. Some refuse to believe such a betrayal could occur within the BTS circle. Others feel a painful validation, claiming they've seen signs of internal conflict for years. Regardless of stance, one thing is certain: Jungkook's pain is real, and it demands to be acknowledged. The power of his voice, calm yet trembling, has awakened something, not just among ARMY, but across the broader music industry. It raises a chilling possibility that even the world's most beloved idols are not immune to being silenced, replaced, or cast aside when they challenge the very system that built them. That friendship, loyalty, and unity may be no match for contracts, profits, and image control. Is this the beginning of a larger revelation? Are more truths set to come out? Jungkook's actions suggest this may only be the start. And if he does choose to break his silence further, to publicly defend Taehyung in ways that can no longer be misinterpreted or ignored, the consequences can go far beyond BTS. It could spark a reckoning, one that forces the entire industry to confront how it treats those who dare to speak up. Until then, fans are left waiting, watching, hoping, fearing. Will Jungkook continue to walk this path alone? Will Taehyung return to tell his side? Or has the final curtain already fallen? The silence between them is deafening. But in that silence, something is shifting, and perhaps, finally, the truth is beginning to rise. The ripple effects of Jungkook's emotional revelation continue to reverberate across global platforms. But amid the growing speculation, one pressing question remains: is this truth or merely performance? Is the pain we witnessed on Jungkook's face an authentic emotional fracture, or a calculated gesture designed to provoke, to sell, to manipulate public perception? At the heart of this growing storm lies a deeply uncomfortable truth. We may never know for certain, and yet, the intensity of our reaction reveals more about us than about them. As I end this moment of collective confusion, we must ask ourselves, are we seeing reality or a well-crafted illusion? Could it be that what appears as a heartbreaking rupture between two members of the most influential K-pop group in the world is actually a narrative manufactured for engagement, driven by media algorithms and fueled by our hunger for drama? What does it mean when entire movements are sparked by interviews, body language interpretations, and deleted tweets? Are we placing too much weight on fragments of data, interpreting silence as betrayal, or sadness as rebellion? Or are we finally opening our eyes to a deeper, systemic flaw in the way the industry treats its idols, not as human beings, but as consumable narratives? It is essential to recognize that much of the information circulating, from Jungkook's quoted reflections to Taehyung's mysterious social media posts, originates not from official press statements or legal disclosures, but from platforms like TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and secondary media aggregators. These are spaces where interpretation often outweighs verification, and where engagement metrics can amplify unconfirmed claims into perceived truths. So we must reflect. Are we, as consumers of this content, complicit in distorting the very truth we seek? exposing his vulnerability? Or is he, too, a victim of a larger system that exploits even the smallest hint of tension to sustain relevance in an oversaturated market? Conversely, are fans being conditioned to decode every movement, every look, every pause in speech, in a way that dehumanizes the very people they claim to protect? Could it be that Taehyung's alleged expulsion is not a singular decision made in private boardrooms, but a narrative fed to the masses, shaped by their reactions and endlessly looped for profit? And what about us, the audience? What role do we play in sustaining this dynamic? This isn't just a question of fact versus fiction. It's a question of responsibility. Do we have the discernment to question our own emotional investment in these figures? Or are we too eager to believe in betrayal because it makes the story more compelling? We must challenge ourselves to resist sensationalism, even when it feels justified by emotional authenticity. Jungkook's sadness may be real, but does it automatically mean that a conspiracy exists? Taehyung's absence may be suspicious, but does it confirm that he was forcibly removed? Where is the boundary between empathy and manipulation? If this entire narrative turns out to be exaggerated, or worse, completely unfounded, what does that say about the mechanisms of digital media and our readiness to trust them? Are we prepared to admit that we may have misinterpreted, overreacted, or even projected our own desires for conflict onto a group of individuals who are merely trying to navigate their personal and professional complexities? And if it is all true, if the darkness behind the stage is deeper than we imagined, then what? Will we hold those responsible accountable, or will we simply move on to the next controversy? It is in this ambiguity that the real danger lies. Not in what Jungkook said, or in what Taehyung didn't say, but in how we, as viewers, readers, and fans, choose to interpret their silence. So, we ask you, do you believe Jungkook's confession was spontaneous? Do you believe Taehyung was truly expelled? Or do you suspect that there are layers of storytelling being constructed to serve a purpose you may not yet fully understand? Do you believe this narrative reveals the truth of internal conflict? Or are you simply responding to the emotional cues presented to you by algorithmic design? Let's take a moment to step back. Reflect on the way this story has spread, through clips taken out of context, TikTok edits with dramatic music, trending hashtags that gain traction before facts can be verified. Is it possible that what we're witnessing is not a rebellion within BTS, but the evolution of a media ecosystem that thrives on emotional chaos? In that context, even truth becomes a currency, bought, sold, and manipulated for views, likes, and virality. And so, we urge you, do not take this story at face value. Even as we report, analyze, and reflect, we acknowledge that this article, too, is part of a larger conversation that remains unresolved. Nothing here is meant to offer a final conclusion. Instead, it is